San Diego is where I actually fell in love with immunology. This is Fred Ramsdell. I won the 2025 Nobel Prize for Physiology or Medicine. I shared that with two colleagues, Mary Brunko and Shimon Sakaguchi. And the work being awarded is for the discovery and characterization of a small subset of lymphocytes that essentially control the immune response and prevent most of us from getting autoimmune diseases. Always liked the sciences, loved oceanography, loved the outdoors, as most people now know. Thought I would be a park ranger at one point, etc. And so I did go to college. I went to Foothill Community College in the Bay Area for the first 2 years. Yeah, UC San Diego for me was a really interesting opportunity. And, part of the UC system, you apply a bunch of places, but UCSD was actually my first choice. It was not the Bay Area, so that was good. I wanted to get away from home for a little while. I've been living at home for 20 plus years, so wanted to go somewhere else. But also they had an amazing program in the sciences, which I thought was fantastic, right? San Diego is where I actually fell in love with immunology. I took a course from a professor there named Dick Dutton, who's a famous immunologist, and I got hooked right away. I was amazed at how important the immune system was, and yet how little our knowledge of it was at that time. And this is the early 80s. We are in an interesting time with respect to fundamental research. I've benefited enormously from funding from the National Institutes of Health over the years, and this program wouldn't exist without that funding. Every drug that gets developed is essentially on the backbone of basic research, almost all of which is funded by the National Institutes of Health. There wouldn't be a COVID vaccine. There wouldn't be almost any drug you see an ad for on television right now. Those would not exist without the basic funding of the NIH and basic scientists doing the work. What I find more disturbing is a sense in the US that there's a lack of trust and a lack of value that's perceived for funding that science. And I'm not quite sure how we got there. People really are trying to do something that will provide value in the long run. And how we convey that and communicate that, to me, is an area where we really need to focus and be much better about that, because we need to reestablish that trust. The U.S. has led biomedical research for generations, but we've certainly been the leader, certainly in innovation. And I think that's good for the country. I think it's good for humanity. No one wants to see their daughter or their aunt die of something they don't have to die from. And so I think it's going to be tragic, frankly, if we don't continue to lead in this area. It'll be an enormous opportunity missed, and literally people will die and the U.S. will suffer.